What is your purpose in action?
To help support them so that they leave feeling more whole, more aligned with themselves.
You helping them to remember who they really are. What happened that made you say, this is what I'm here to do?
I had horrible insomnia and anxiety when I was younger. Usually the thing you resist the most is what you need the most.
Hi everyone, I'm Margarita Graf and welcome to Purpose in Action, a podcast for anyone who's feeling stuck or who's been quietly thinking about following their calling but doesn't know how to start. Every guest on this show has completely different story, different path, different gifts, different reasons they went through, but they all have one thing in common. They found a way to turn their purpose into something real, something in action. I created this because I believe these stories matter. When you hear someone talk honestly about their journey, the doubt, the turning points, what they had to leave behind, something shifts. You see your own path a little more clearly. Today's guest story is very special. She works with energy, tarot, and intuitive healing. And her story is exactly the kind I wanted this podcast to hold space for. So let's get into it. Please welcome today's guest, Brooke. Brooke, thank you so much for joining me today. It's a pleasure to have you here and listen about your beautiful path. So let's start with where are you from, where are you based, and what does life feel like in this season?
Oh, beautiful. So I am from North Carolina. I currently live in Charlotte, but I grew up in small towns and I also moved every 2 to 3 years as a kid. So lots of movement early on. But the season of life, or like where I'm at in life right now, it's really beautiful because I feel like I've been in a rebirth portal, which is not always comfortable, right? We're shedding lots of skins, moving through a lot of things. But I feel like I'm finally starting to feel awakened again, or like things are clicking and I'm in alignment. So I think I'm kind of tiptoeing out of that portal right now, which is really nice. I actually
Yeah.
just picked up sound bowls, my first sound bowls I've ever had. So I'm really excited to play with those.
Oh, wow. Wow. Thank you so much for sharing. Thank you so much. So you say you can see the color of someone's soul, right? What does that actually mean? And what do people feel when they experience your work? Meaning, what is your purpose in action without mentioning a job title, especially now after your rebirth, I would say.
Yeah, I love that. So in my bio, I put that line because it's actually from one of my favorite songs by Grizz and Closey. I'm a big EDM fan, so it's a reflection of that. But I felt like it perfectly summed up the work I do. And so what that kind of means is like when someone sits down in front of me, I'm not only seeing their physical representation, which I notice their emotions crossing their face or their shift in their posture, things like that. But then I can also notice what they're carrying in their energetic field. So, what emotions are kind of stuck? Where is it sitting in their body? What does their aura look like? What colors are coming through for me? Because, colors too each represent something different. So, as soon as you sit in front of me and I'm able to connect to you, I'm just like scanning and observing. And I think a gift of being a psychic or having these gifts is really being able to see what people can't always see within themselves. And I just really love being able to share what I can sense and feel and see within them.
That sounds awesome. That sounds awesome. That sounds like a purpose. So, and you've mentioned the aura. Could you explain a little bit more about this in the simple words? What is aura all about to you?
Oh, yeah, I love that. It's almost like a mixture of all of the energy that we're carrying. And if you haven't heard of the chakra system, there are seven like main energy systems or centers within us. They all have their own colors and they kind of put an energy outward. So it's like an outer shell around your body. You can almost imagine it like an egg. And those colors that are most prominent are maybe a chakra that you're leaning into the most. So if you're like really working on self love, then you're going to see a lot of green in your aura. Or if you're really confident and you're feeling really good, I might see a lot of yellow. But it's all a blending of the different colors that you carry, as well as other colors that have other meanings. So
Beautiful. Thank you
mhm.
so much. Thank you so much for such a simple explanation. And I was wondering, how did you find this path, or did it find you? So tell me the whole story.
I think I was led here. I think with purpose, we find little golden nuggets of things that intrigue us or we're like sent towards. And if it feels aligned or we for some reason have this crazy idea to follow it, we find our purpose. So I think I was kind of led here. And it was actually in 2019. And this is like a pivotal moment of my life. And I've never had those except for my wedding day. So it was in 2019. I was struggling really hard. I was 25 at the time. I had built my whole identity and life around a corporate job. And when I didn't end up liking it, it was really shocking to my system. I was really lost. I didn't know who I was. I was having trouble in relationships. I couldn't date. Dating was very hard for me. And so I was honestly at a point that most people would describe as rock bottom, I think. Like I wasn't taking care of myself well. My mental health was not strong. So a friend saw that I was struggling and recommended I see a psychic. So I went and saw her, and that session just made me feel so seen and so heard, which I had never felt, I felt like. And so that was so transformational for me. And I continued seeing her. And one day I just asked her, I was like, could I do what you do? Because I've always wanted to help people. And I just feel like I'm not doing that in my current field and I'm not happy here. So could I do what you do? And she was like, yes, absolutely. And then she started offering a mentorship program. And so I signed up for that in 2021 and then just followed the seeds that were planted and trained in somatics because I kept having clients bring to me patterns or things that they were working with, and they're like, okay, yeah, I understand we need to work with this, but how do we work with it? I was like, well, that's a great question, let me find the answer. So I put out the intention to find a training that would help me answer that question for my clients and help lead them there or be part of it with them, like work with them on it. And that's when somatics dropped into my lap, and I found a somatic trauma therapy training, and then I followed it into an inner child based somatic reparenting training. And then I realized too that all of these things, psychic work, somatic work, are all different forms of working with energy. And so I added energy work modalities to my, I guess, like toolbox, you would say, just to help people and kind of help them in all sorts of ways. So whatever they come in with, we can try different methods to help support them so that they leave feeling more whole, more aligned with themselves.
Wow. Wow, sounds very powerful. And I love the way how you touched the topic that even with your corporate job, you had this feeling to help others, but eventually you helped yourself first. And then you
Mm-hmm.
started following your path pretty much. Wow, this is great. And I love to talk more about somatic, of course. I'm also working with that. But first, I wanted to talk something you've mentioned in your Instagram page. It's about the origin story. So to kind of unfold it from the beginning. So what happened that made you say, this is what I'm here to do?
Yeah, the origin story really did start when I sat down and I saw that psychic. And in hindsight, I could see I had gifts that I wanted to work with. And as a kid, I always said I wanted to help people. And for some reason, I strayed from that as I got older with the work I did. But really, from seeing that psychic, I started meditating, I started journaling, and I started to feel more like myself and calling my energy back enough to where I randomly just had the thought of like, I'd like to do this for other people because I felt so seen and so heard, and that was so transformational for me. I'd like to create a space where other people can also experience that and feel that way as soon as they step through the door. So it's been a long time coming. It's been years of just exploration, self exploration. And every time I learn a tool, I first use it on myself for a really long time before I start offering it to other people, just so I know what it feels like, what they experience, and if it actually, makes a difference. So that's what
Yeah,
I do. Hmm.
got it. Got it. Thank you so much for sharing. And maybe was there a point where you doubted this? Like, or where it cost you something to keep it going? Because you said sometimes it might take some time to make sure you experience that first, right? So what did you have to move through?
That's a great question. I am actually in a season of moving through self-doubt because I think as we heal, we're always going to revisit wounds. And this self-doubt wound is coming back up for me right now. As I try to expand, it's coming online a little bit louder. But yeah, I've definitely doubted my ability to hold these gifts and to be able to offer these things. And I've also not always felt deserving of it for some reason. And that's something that I've been working through for a long time that I've shifted through and will just revisit when I need to. But it does cost you a lot of things to do this work. It honestly costs you your identities that don't serve you anymore, even ones that you love, because sometimes we over identify with labels and ways of being that aren't who we actually are and what we're here to do. So it's deconstructing all of those. It's releasing those beliefs about yourself you've been holding for a long time that might be in the way. So it's cost me a lot of different versions of myself, lots of skins to shed over the years, which so good for you in the long run, but it's not always the most comfortable journey.
Yes, I totally agree with you.
Mhm.
And for me, it also feels like I'm constantly being in the state of phoenix, I would say,
Yes.
as you described, the phase of rebirth. But I think that's why people are coming to you. So,
Mhm.
because you went through it and you can also lead them through that.
Mhm.
So, who comes to you? Describe the person who finds their way to the rose path, what they're actually carrying, what they're searching for.
Mm. Yeah, and there's always a saying that I was taught early on. I don't identify with the label of healer because I think we really heal ourselves. I'm just here to support you and walk along the path with you.
I love
But the
that.
saying, yeah, thank you. That's hence the rose path. We're walking a path together towards your blooming. But the idea that I've heard before is that a good healer first heals themselves and then is able to help others heal that same issue or wound or pattern themselves as well. So it helps me having familiarity with it, helps me be like, oh, I can see this within you. This is what's helped me. Let's practice that and try that and see if that helps you. So for me, like a biggest one that I've worked through is shame, like not accepting myself, not always feeling worthy, self-doubt. So all of these things and perfectionism, the perfectionism wound is so loud sometimes, which is why this is a great practice for me, uh,
Mm-hmm.
talking off the cuff. But all of those
Same.
things, yeah, it's great when we do things that put us outside of those comfort zones. So I think that just helps me. And I do get a lot of women who come to me with self confidence, with self worth that they're trying to build or find within themselves. My journey has been all of one about like becoming my most authentic self. And so that's really the women who come to me is really understanding who they are in life's big transitions, who they really are under all the identities that they honestly no longer want to carry half the time. They're like, okay, I've been a mom for so long, I don't know who I am now. So we do exploration to answer that question. And honestly, now that I'm talking, I think the biggest question we answer in session sometimes is who am I? Like, what's my role? What's my identity? Who am I really underneath all of this? Am I really a person who is ashamed of myself all the time? Or can I find that self acceptance? Do I not feel confident in myself? Or can I start to feel and build that confidence more? It's like unlearning things and then reclaiming parts of ourselves that have always existed, but we've hidden underneath the other wounds.
Yeah, I was gonna say, that kind of sounds like you helping them to remember who they really are.
Exactly. That's the simplest answer. Yep.
Wow,
Yeah.
that sounds amazing. I love that. So, and what happens exactly in a session, energetically and emotionally? What shifts for someone when this process actually happens?
Great question. So, with psychic work, and I'm trying to combine the two energy work, I think for them, most of the feedback I get is that they don't always feel seen or heard in their lives, which is what I've always tried to cultivate. I try to cultivate a safe space where, again, I'm walking alongside them. I'm not trying to be a guru or above them. And it's very a non-judgmental, safe space. So I think people come in and are able to let their guards down a little bit more and leave behind some stuff that they've been carrying that they haven't always known they were carrying and they're not wanting to continue carrying forward. A lot of people say that it makes them feel more empowered after they leave a session. They feel like they know themselves a little bit better. And I think sometimes too, people just really need to hear us say that that's okay, that that's how you feel. Like, it's okay, you're bringing this forward. It's okay, there's nothing wrong. Let's just like work with it and see what happens.
Like sort of permission, right?
Giving, yes, it's almost like helping them give themselves permission to put things down and not want to be this way anymore or not beat themselves up anymore.
That's great. That's great when you're in there, but someone's just, emotionally holding your hand and you're
Hmm.
walking this path together, as you said. So, and you also hold rose circles. So it's not just one-on-one work, right? It's a space, as I understand, to show up exactly as you are. So not pretending, but just being. So where did it come from and what makes those spaces different?
Yeah, that's a great question too. So I had just been feeling called to create a space that was for women to gather and be in community, especially with how the world is to women. We hold a lot of ideals that were placed on us that we don't necessarily agree with. We were given a lot of societal pressures or responsibilities. And I think this is a space that I really wanted to create where people could come and just exhale and just be and leave all the to-do list, all their worries at the door and just come in and you know what, like show up with whatever emotion they're feeling that day. There's no need to perform here. It's all about just being your authentic self and what your current authentic experience is in the moment. So how that's structured is I have a very loose structure that I flow with each month based on the energy of what I'm sensing. So I'll go in meditation, I'll pull tarot cards, and I kind of like channel what that month's circle is going to look like, but it's always with, we'll start with energy clearing, we'll ground, and then we'll go into a meditation that I channeled specifically for whatever that month needed. And then we have journaling where they can write down what they experienced in the meditation, and I'll sometimes give them prompts to explore. And then we'll have an open floor of let's chat and discuss and just share. And a lot of people have come out with things that they've never admitted to other people. And then they just find so much support from these other women that just, I feel like that's so important just to feel supported and seen by other women. And what you're experiencing, I think, is so impactful.
Right, right. So isn't that crazy how people are carrying kind of similar things? They're
Mhm.
holding it, right? And they're all coming together and sharing, as you said, you're channeling pretty much the theme of the event, right?
Mhm.
I'm pretty sure it's just like clicking right away for whoever showing up.
Yeah, and sometimes too, you have to trust that it also clicks after the circle because some women come in really shy, and I try to make it invitational. So if they don't want to share anything, that's totally fine. So I never know how they're fully experiencing it, but sometimes it's when they leave that they get the what they were needing in that moment. I also think that while we may not all have the same exact experiences in life, we're able to relate to the feeling or the emotion because maybe we've experienced it in another form. And so it's really nice to have people just talking aloud about things and sharing those insights.
Totally agree. Totally agree. And I love how you describe that about the feelings and emotions, because sometimes we carry a lot, but we're not seeing it as a feeling. We just
Mm-hmm.
seeing it that's something bothering, but it's always something important, which is highlighting us the further path, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
And is there a moment with a client or let's say during the circle that cracked something open in you too?
I feel like it happens often when you're sensitive and open, it's going to happen. I mean, one, if they come in with heavy emotions, I'm going to feel those too, and I'm human, so I do feel cracked open by someone else's grief or their struggles. So I do feel that. I also just, there's a term in energy work I learned called matching pictures. And so often the clients we're working with has a resonance with our energy, meaning they present similar things that we may have been working through or are currently working through. So whenever there's a client that comes in where I feel like they're mirroring to me what my own experience currently is, that really like cracks me open and helps lead me forward to work through that. And then there are client sessions where it just doesn't hit and it doesn't go well. It's not very common, but that shakes my confidence or that'll bring up the self doubt. I'm like, okay, this is opening for me to look at and just feel more confident in my work and who I am again.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's all happening not by the accident.
It's all on purpose.
Yeah. From every single angle.
hmm
Okay. And if someone watching this, but has never done anything like tarot or energy work, what's one simple thing they can do today to start coming home to themselves?
I love that question. Coming home to themselves is my favorite term. um, I think I'll give two or three. I think two. Meditation first. I had horrible insomnia and anxiety when I was younger. I mean, up until I was like 27. I'm 31 now. So I had it for a very long time. And when I began this spiritual journey and my own healing journey, meditation has made such a transformation for me. Like, if I notice if I'm not meditating consistently, my anxiety will reappear a little bit. So now I'm able to manage anxiety. I barely feel it, and that's all through the gift of meditation. And I now sleep 8 to 10 hours, and that's all through the healing work that I've been doing. And I think meditation was one of those pivotal tools for me. And don't be thrown off by it. I know some people are like, oh, well, I can't sit still or I can't stop thinking. There are so many short meditations you can do. You can start small and just build it up. That's kind of what I had to do because anxiety means your mind's racing constantly and it doesn't feel comfortable to sit still. I started at 5 minutes, and now if I want to, I could go for an hour. And it's all because you just build and train that muscle and you keep trying and showing up, and it expands eventually. And you don't even have to do an hour. You can do 10 minutes, 15, 20, whatever time you have. That just helps you center. It helps you find your flow. And often after meditation is when you'll get messages or you'll realize something that you needed an answer to. It's because your body finally allowed itself to recenter, reground, balance. And then the other thing is a tool that I think is great for self exploration, and that's journaling. So there are tons of journal prompts on Pinterest, online, but you could also do what one of my favorite practices is, which is mind dumping. So if my mind's really loud or I'm overwhelmed by emotion, I'll pull my journal out and just start writing everything that's coming up to my mind and dump it on the page until I feel complete. And usually what happens is I'll come full circle and have a realization that helps shift what I was feeling. So it's a great practice. And I think, and journal prompts are great to explore yourself and to get started. So,
I love how you mentioned every single thing, what sometimes we're considering as a basic and maybe not even taking it serious, right? For example, sleep. You've mentioned sleep. So this
mhm,
is actually very important,
mhm,
and as journaling, sometimes when people just starting doing that, so they're like, oh, whatever, it's just journaling, how it could help and things like that,
mhm.
the mind trying to find every single reason to not do that. But when you actually start, in my opinion, the writing is one of the easiest way to talk to your subconscious, pretty much. Of course,
Mhm.
not right away, but when you're starting doing that consistently, it actually opens up a lot.
Beautiful. I totally agree. And I heard something one time, someone said, usually the thing you resist the most is what you need the most. So if you hear me say meditation and journaling, you're like, absolutely not. You probably need it. So,
Right, right. Totally agree. I can see that myself in that too.
mhm.
100%.
Oh, same. Yeah.
So, and these days, how do you take care of yourself? So, when you're holding so much space for others, what keeps you grounded to make sure you're staying sourced and can continue help others?
Yeah, that's a great question too. Definitely making sure I'm getting sleep and taking care of that hygiene. And then I always do a protection practice in the morning every day before I meditate, just to protect my energy so that I'm not absorbing your energy during session. And then I try to cleanse it after each client I have. That way I'm just not mixing things up and taking it home with me. I'm trying to leave it in the office, in the space, and clear that out. So I try to have a really good energetic hygiene practice. But something that's been really good for me lately too is playtime, like allowing myself to explore new things just for fun, not because it's like, oh, let me add this modality or let me do this for something else for some other reason. It's just purely for fun. That's why I got the sound bowls today.
Wow, yeah, that sounds great. And also, I like how you mentioned just to do that for fun,
Mhm.
because people like us were always trying to dig deeper, and to get something more informative or to do something with a purpose. But sometimes we just have to let it go and have some fun, right? So
But that's the whole
relax our
point.
mind.
Yeah. The whole point of healing is to be able to enjoy life, right? Like, why was I taking it so seriously? I still get, I think it was last year, 2024. I was taking so many trainings back to back and back. And I was like,
Yeah,
whoa, my brain can't hold anything else. I need a break. So that's when I realized I needed space to play and to integrate and just be.
totally agree. Totally agree. So thank you so much for
Hmm.
sharing your tricks and tips, I would say.
Hmm.
So, you describe yourself also as a lighthouse in the dark. Was there a time when you were the one in the dark looking for that light?
Absolutely. That was the 2019 version. Well, honestly, that was probably me for a very long time before 2019. I think I was always kind of lost and didn't really know myself. And I was very much a people pleaser, which means our personalities and who we are, we don't know. We're like shifting to please everyone. And we're never going to achieve it because everyone's expectations and perceptions of us are different. So I think I was at sea lost for a very long time. And 2019 is just when I hit that wall of needing to really do something about it. So I finally chose to seek the light out. And that's how I wound up seeing a psychic. And I started doing therapy and journaling and meditating. So that's kind of what I aim to be, is just let me show you my light. And when my light's here, it's going to reach out and permeate you and help brighten your light. Like, we're always just going to feed off of each other. And I'm just here again to walk you home. Like, we're all walking home together back to ourselves.
Yeah, right. I love that. That's a beautiful explanation because I think that someone might seeing that as a struggle, right? When you
Hmm.
just begin and when you just step into it. So, what would you say to someone who feels drawn to this kind of work, intuitive, spiritual, healing, but is afraid to trust the process or step into it? Or they might think what others might think about them, right?
Hmm. Yeah, I love that question a lot too. So don't let the fear win. Fear is so loud, and fear just is really about things we just don't know anything about. And you can keep it private. Like, not other people don't have to know. You don't have to share it. So just keep yourself private until you feel more confident and be like, this is who I am. I'm interested in these things. Right now, start small. You don't have to jump right into it and be loud and proud unless it feels comfortable to you. You can just start small. Try something out that interests you. If you want to go see a tarot reader, see a tarot reader. If you want to learn tarot, pick up a deck and play with it at home. We don't have to out ourselves from the broom closet so quickly. We can just pick something small and keep it private and keep it special to us until we're ready to share it with others. But don't let fear win. It's all going to be okay. It's beautiful. And if something doesn't resonate with you, if you tried it out and it doesn't, no harm done. Just try something else that interests you later.
I love that. I think it's very important point, and it actually brought me back to the reflection I heard once. Don't compete your chapter 1 with someone else's chapter 100.
Yes, I love that. Yeah, I mean, I've listened to where I started. I had insomnia, terrible anxiety. And now I don't. It's because I started where you are probably. Maybe you're not experiencing that and you're a little bit higher above me at that point. Like we all start somewhere, and I'm proof, I guess, that the work works and showing up and just exploring it works. And honestly, it's fun. It's fun to see a psychic. It's fun to go do these things. You might have emotions come up that may feel intense at the time, but I always aim to ground you. I always aim for it to end very peacefully for you. And so it's just fun. Just let it be fun.
Yeah, right. I think we have to remember how to enjoy the process, not just, be oriented to the goal, because pretty much a lot of us coming from the corporate background, and I think it's kind of trauma hits from there.
Absolutely, yes.
But yeah, it's a great
I
reminder.
Yeah, it's like be a beginner. I think that's what we're all afraid of is being a beginner because when we get to a certain age, we feel like we should know everything. New stuff is scary, but just be open and curious. Curiosity is actually so fun, and curiosity are two of the things that we should try to lean into more as humans, I think.
I agree, totally, totally. And I also love how you mentioned something about the perfectionism. So in this world, it works differently, I think, in a way of healing and working with emotions, and expectations sometimes higher that they're supposed to be. We're thinking, oh, I have to put this together all in one, but we've never done with that. So it just like takes some time. Is just a bit of practice, I would say. So,
Hmm.
and let's say if someone watching this and uh, let me rephrase this, if someone is watching this and something in them is quietly saying, I need this, so I need to step into this path, what do you want them to know about it?
I give you permission. Explore it. There's no wrong way to do it. Just explore it. I started picking up journals or books about goddesses and reading about different goddesses, and that's how I found my spirit guides. Just meditation. There's so many different forms of meditation. Just start somewhere, and I give you permission, and I hope you can give yourself permission too. It's all going to be for the better in the long run. You'll feel a lot better, most likely, and more like yourself and more grounded and just more open to life. So I just say, go for
That's great. Thank you so
it.
much. Thank you so much, because I think all of us sometimes are seeking for that sort of permission, as you mentioned earlier. And probably a person would not expect this, but when you're hearing this, you're like, oh, it's not by the accident, right?
It's not. It's that purpose, spirit puts, or the universe, whatever you want to call it, God, there's so many different words for it. But we're just guided there sometimes. Like spirit will put that's what I call it, but they'll put little golden nuggets of energy in front of us, little things that spark our interest. We're like, oh, I noticed I've heard about sound bowls a lot lately. Maybe I meant to research that or look into that. And that's how I found new sound bowls. So it's just following these little nuggets of things that keep popping up and you're like intrigued by it and it just keeps showing up. Follow it. Or when a friend suggests a psychic, they're like, hey, I think this would help. Follow that inclination. And that will just lead you on your path, I think, to what's most aligned for us. So if you just follow these little things that intrigue you, you'll find your purpose.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you so much for bringing it in a simple, understandable breakdown, I would say. I think it will be really helpful for somebody who is looking for that. And
Yeah.
thank you so much for this conversation. And I was wondering how people can find you, work with you, or join a Rose Circle.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So I am on Instagram a lot. I love to respond to DMs. I really wanted to use Instagram as a community. So feel free to message me on there. I think it'll be in the description, my handle. And then you can email me. We'll make sure that's there too. I love questions. I love connecting. And then on my Instagram is my website link, but I know it'll be in the description as well. That's my
Mm-hmm.
booking site. I don't have a website yet. So it's a Calendly scheduler. So you can see my rose circles on there. I offer psychic readings, I offer energy work, and then I do combine sessions of psychic readings with energy work. So that's what I have out there right now. I actually might be adding reading tea leaves soon too. So a little fun session around that. So you can find that all there.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Yeah, of course, I'll put all of this information below in the description for this video. So thank you so much again for this conversation, and for everyone who's watching, please share with us your thoughts. Go ahead and follow Brooke on her social media. Subscribe to this channel as more podcasts are coming up soon. So let's connect. We're here for you. And until next time.
Oh, I love this. Bye.